At 45, Marsau Scott has once again become the center of conversation, but this time it's not because of rumors about his personal life, his businesses, or even his banter with other cast members. Instead, it's because he chose to expose something that directly ties his wife, Letitia Scott, to one of the longest-running feuds in love and marriage, Huntsville history. His words didn't just spark a normal debate, they lit up social media, divided the fanbase, and brought an entirely new dimension to the drama that has been simmering for years. What made this moment so explosive is that Marsau, the man who has spent seasons deflecting, joking, and avoiding deep drama when possible, was the one who openly accused his own wife of being jealous of Melody Sherry. That single accusation shifted the spotlight, not only onto Letitia's relationship with Melody but also onto the dynamic inside the Scott marriage itself. Fans who have followed the show from the beginning know that the tension between Letitia and Melody has always been layered, complicated, and deeply personal. But for Marsau to put a word like jealousy into the mix, publicly, changed the entire conversation. To understand why fans are still buzzing about this, we have to go back to the beginning of Letitia and Melody's relationship. When Love and Marriage, Huntsville first premiered, it looked like Letitia and Melody could be allies. They were both young mothers, both wives to ambitious men, and both women balancing motherhood, marriage, and business on camera. For a brief time, there seemed to be mutual respect. Melody was outspoken, sharp, and direct, while Letitia appeared more soft-spoken, traditional, and family-centered. Together, they balanced the cast in interesting ways, but as viewers know, that balance didn't last long. Cracks started forming almost immediately, and the first sign of serious tension came from Melody's tendency to be blunt. She didn't sugarcoat her opinions, and while some people respected that, others found it unnecessary and even hurtful. Letitia happened to be one of the people on the receiving end of Melody's critiques. She felt Melody's words weren't simply observations but attacks, aimed to undermine her independence, her marriage, and her role within the group. The tension reached a boiling point when whispers of infidelity began circling around Marsau. Melody wasn't shy about addressing those rumors, and that was a turning point. For Letitia, those rumors weren't just drama for the cameras. They struck at the core of her identity as a wife and a mother. To have another woman, especially one she thought could have been a friend, bring those issues out into the open felt like betrayal. That's when the dynamic between Letitia and Melody changed permanently. What might have once been a tense friendship turned into open rivalry. From that point forward, every interaction between Letitia and Melody carried weight. It wasn't just a disagreement, it was a reflection of two different lifestyles and philosophies. Melody, especially after leaving her marriage, represented independence, success, and the ability to thrive outside of a husband's shadow. She was building businesses, making music, and stepping into the spotlight as her own woman. Letitia, in contrast, represented loyalty, tradition, and family unity. She stood by her husband despite rumors, choosing to put her marriage and her children first. Fans quickly took sides. Some admired Melody for speaking her mind and refusing to let others define her. Others admired Letitia for defending her family, staying committed, and trying to rise above the drama. This divide created one of the most important storylines in Love and Marriage, Huntsville, with Melody and Letitia's feud becoming a symbol of the larger themes of the show. Independence versus tradition, honesty versus loyalty, and resilience versus sacrifice. Now, this is where Marsau's accusation changes everything. By saying his wife is jealous of Melody, he essentially reframed the years of conflict between the two women. Instead of the feud being about different personalities, values, or lifestyles, Marsau suggested it all comes down to one emotion: envy. According to him, Letitia sees Melody's independence, success, and confidence, and feels threatened by it. That's a powerful statement coming from anyone, but especially from her husband, the person who knows her best. The moment he said it, fans reacted immediately. Some said they always believed jealousy was at the root of Letitia's issues with Melody. They pointed to the way she rolled her eyes when Melody was praised or made dismissive comments about her achievements. Others pushed back, saying it was unfair for Marsau to reduce his wife's feelings to jealousy. They argued that Letitia has her own businesses, her own accomplishments, and her own family stability, things Melody hasn't always had. Why would she be jealous of someone else's journey when her own life is full in its own right? What complicates this further is Marsau's own history with Melody. He and Melody have never exactly been friends. She's called him out, confronted him, and even dragged him into rumors of infidelity. Their exchanges have often been icy and filled with tension. That's why many fans were surprised that Marsau of all people would bring Melody back into the conversation in a way that directly pits her against his wife. Was he being brutally honest, or was he being strategic? Some fans think Marsau was telling the truth as he sees it. Maybe he has observed Letitia over the years and genuinely believes that envy fuels some of her frustrations with Melody. Others, however, believe Marsau was deflecting. By painting his wife as jealous, he successfully redirected the narrative away from himself and the endless rumors that surround him. After all, when the women are feuding, the men's issues often fade into the background. Marsau has been in the reality TV game long enough to know that there's also the argument that Marsau uses these moments to maintain control. Fans have pointed out that he sometimes jokes at Letitia's expense or dismisses her feelings. By labeling her as jealous, he may be undercutting her again, framing her as insecure instead of strong. If that's the case, then this isn't just about Letitia versus Melody. It's about the power dynamic inside the Scott marriage itself. For Letitia, being accused of jealousy by her own husband must sting. She has spent years trying to build her own identity, separate from the drama. She's worked on her business ventures, invested in herself, and tried to show that she's more than just Marsau's wife. To have him turn around and publicly claim she's jealous of another woman takes away from that progress. It paints her in a way she may not agree with, and it could cause real tension inside their home. The fallout has been massive. Social media lit up with debates. Some people said Marsau was gaslighting Letitia, making her look insecure when she has every right to feel frustrated with Melody's behavior. Others said Marsau was finally being real, pulling back the curtain on what many fans already suspected. The fact that the comment came from him, rather than a fellow cast member or fan, gave it more weight. This moment also raises a bigger question about reality TV relationships. The Scotts have always been presented as one of the stronger couples on the show. Despite the rumors, they've remained united, presenting a front of loyalty and partnership. But Marsau's comment shows cracks in that image. It suggests that even behind the scenes, there may be tension, misunderstandings, and unspoken resentments. For fans, the question now is simple. What does this mean for the Scotts' marriage moving forward? If Letitia feels betrayed by Marsau's words, will she push back harder, both on the show and at home? Will she double down on proving her independence, perhaps even distancing herself from her husband? Or will they present a united front once again, brushing off the comment as just another dramatic moment for the cameras? The truth is, this one statement has reshaped not only the perception of Letitia and Melody's feud but also the entire balance of the cast. Alliances have shifted, fan debates have reignited, and the spotlight is firmly on Marsau and Letitia in a way it hasn't been before. What makes this all the more fascinating is that jealousy is not always about money, fame, or material success. Sometimes it's about confidence, presence, and influence. Melody walks into a room and commands attention. She has a certain energy that draws people in, whether they love her or hate her. Letitia, while successful in her own right, doesn't always get the same reaction. If Marsau truly believes jealousy exists, maybe he's talking about that intangible difference, the way Melody seems to shine in every setting. But here's the twist that some fans are considering. What if Marsau's words weren't about Letitia at all? What if, deep down, they were a projection of his own feelings? Some believe Marsau may secretly respect Melody's independence, even if he doesn't like her personally. By calling his wife jealous, could he actually be revealing his own conflicted feelings about Melody's success and strength? No matter how you look at it, the ripple effects are undeniable. The conversation has shifted. Fans are no longer just watching a feud between two women. They're analyzing a marriage, questioning motives, and debating whether Marsau's accusation was honest, strategic, or manipulative. And as the season unfolds, the tension between the Scotts is likely to be tested like never before.